Ooh. Hey, as was just mentioned, I'm Timothy, and I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to come and watch my video. Um, in the course of the next, 15 minutes that this video is going to take, I hope I provide you with a little bit of laughs, maybe a small smile, just something to help you kind of cope with the 67 straight hours of quarantine that you've been in. I'm just kidding. It's only going to be like 3 minutes caps. Time me, I promise. So anyways, again, thank you so much for watching the video, and I really hope you enjoy it. So many years ago, there was a family. It was a family of two that wanted to become a family of three, but they only wanted to become a family of three on certain conditions. The condition was a dog, but it wasn't just any dog. The dog was a purebred Cocker Spaniel puppy named Tuffy. Well, his legal name was Two-Toned Tennessee Tuffy. It had to be as expensive sounding as his price tag was. It's, the purebred thing. But that little dog, two-toned for the color of his hair, Tennessee for his birthplace, Tuffy was the glue that held that little family together. Fast forward like 12 years, big jump, I know. The family, now living in Alabama, it expanded. The two had added 4 vibrant, noisy children who took attention away from Tuffy. 3 beautiful girls and 1 boy, who was probably the best child to ever exist. On a list of all-time best children, all right, just rank them. You've got Jesus, Baby Yoda, and then the sun. But that's besides the point. Tuffy was still faithful. He loved each child as if they were his own. He just valued his quiet time a little bit more, like times when his fur wasn't getting eaten by one of the sisters. The son would never do that. But one of those children, probably the favorite one, definitely the best looking one, was me. I loved that dog like a son. He was my guy. And to him, I was probably more like a grandson. At the time, I was like 7 years old, which in dog years is like 56, I think. But he was 12, which made him 84. So I guess I loved that dog like he was my grandfather. But I looked up to that dog. What other 84-year-old man could get as many women as Tuffy could? He's my inspiration. My dog was the Hugh Hefner of canines. He was my hero. Tuffy was, not Hugh Hefner. Just want to clear that air up for a second there. But hey, old age finally caught up to old Tuff. Caught up to Hugh as well. But my sisters and I, we were all sitting with Tuffy in our kitchen one night. I remember it. He was just laying there, barely breathing, and we were taking turns just petting him. My mom came in. It was probably 9 o'clock at night, and she told us to say our goodbyes to Tuffy because he probably wasn't going to make it through the night. She didn't want us to see him die. So we all got up and we went to our rooms, and she sat down crisscrossed and just held him. She sat there for probably 5 hours, and that's on the low end, which is, it's just a testament to the lengths that moms will go to for things that they love. So just want to give a big shout out to moms. If you're a mom, you guys are superheroes. You guys are amazing. Shout out. But she sat there with him, and when he finally stopped breathing, he was being held by the one person in the world who loved him the most. I can't speak for my sisters, but I know I cried myself to sleep last night. That night, not last night. Last night, that's a whole nother story. But that night, I definitely cried myself to sleep. And many nights after that as well. Losing Tuffy was one of the hardest things I had to go through at that stage in my life. There's not a lot of heartbreak 7-year-olds can go through. But the next morning was even worse when I actually woke up and realized that he wasn't coming back and he was actually gone. I wouldn't get to take him out on walks, and I wouldn't get to throw the ball with him. A lazy dog would never bring the thing back anyway. We're all pretty broken up as a family over Tuffy not being around, but the next step was doing what families, usually do with their pets when they pass away. We had to flush him down the toilet, which is where this story really takes a turn. I'm just playing. We didn't flush him. Praise God. We did have a funeral though. We had a priest, we had musicians, we had a choir, we had everything. Right? We had Tuffy. He was wrapped in his favorite blanket, and he was lowered into one of those big plastic tubs that you keep for your kids to like throw their toys in that they don't play with, and they'd rather play with like toilet paper rolls and stuff. I don't make the rules. But some of you guys are probably surprised at how much we did for my dog. But my dad was really excited to stop preparing for his sermon on Sunday so he could be the standing priest. And my sisters were always readily available to practice their musical skills at the funeral. And I'm always willing to sing Amazing Grace off key. Just let me know if you want me to do it right now. We don't have time? Okay, we don't have time for it, but it's fine. Despite Tuffy's passing away, life, it still had to go on. And for us as a family too. Less than a year later, my dad, he got a job offer at a church in Florida. And, as any Gator fan living in Alabama would do, we took that crap before he had a chance to change their mind. So obviously there's a lot of preparation and there's a lot of work that goes into going to a move, especially to like a new state. And for some sentimental reason, I kept hearing Tuffy's name being tossed around. It turns out somehow I inherited the job of being interim gravedigger for the move, which I don't recommend. By this, I mean I was assigned the task of digging up Tuffy's casket and putting him into the back of our U-Haul. He's still dead. He's still dead. Nothing's changed. There's no way this could go wrong, right? I mean, just give a 7-ish-year-old kid a shovel and everything will be just fine. Spoiler alert, though. Grave digging is not my major. Neither is excavation, and neither is wanting to dig up a dog that has been dead for a year. But hey, when a pastor tells you to do something, you do it, even if you don't want to. The Catholics, they can relate to that. But anyway, I go outside to dig up this dog, and I walk behind the shed, and I just start digging away. I'm cooking right now. He's only like 2 feet underneath the ground. And this giant white box, like the lid is plastic, everything's plastic. There's no way I could miss it. Well, after about 3 hours of digging, I have nothing to show for my efforts except for a giant hole the size of a small country. I think I had gotten distracted because the further down into the earth I dug, the more like weird pieces and like shards of plastic I kept finding. And I'm gonna be honest, I thought I found like buried treasure. Obviously plastic is like a weird currency of treasure, but I thought I found like plastic treasure. So I was like, bro, I'm just gonna keep digging and I'm gonna find it. But really the only thing that I found was myself back in the house, like packing up dishes while my dad told my mom that I had dug right through the casket and apparently through Tuffy's loosely wrapped collection of bones. So yeah, that didn't work out too well. But needless to say, I was able to retire from the grave digging profession at the ripe old age of 7.5. So what is it? This many years old? That's 6. This many years old? Maybe 8, if you want to be generous. But my dad put Tuffy in the back of the trailer. And, after we had it all packed up, we made the drive to Florida. Upon arrival, though, the stench of Tuffy's deceased body had just filled the hearse with its scented death. Somehow the smell of death, it just was not as unbearable as the heartbreak knowing that Tuffy would never lick our faces again. We dug a new home for Tuffy, to once again lie in peace. Another funeral was held. Ironically, the same pastor was present. The same music played, probably because my sisters only knew like 2 songs. And as we remembered Tuffy's life, memories flooded our minds. And to this day, in the ground lay Tuffy, in the soil of the Sunshine State, where the bones of his existence lie. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day today. I really appreciate the time that you took to listen to the story. Thank you.